Good afternoon, it's Joyful Christian Hermit. Well, when I dress like this, it means it's serious. I have been down. Too much world, too much world. Uh, the toe snafu with the electrical outlet situation. Had to go to Lowe's and to Home Depot, dragging my poor little body in with this horribly painful toe. If your big toes feel okay, praise God for that. A small thing can cause so much trouble and can get serious. So then I've had to deal with the bank, my little hometown bank that I was loyal to, been with them for decades, and kept just one account to pay my bills with, just to have contact, because my ancestors came there from Germany and from England, well, from via Stark County, Ohio, what my dad's side, but in the 1859. So I just hate to quit on them, but they got a new bill pay system that they are tearing their hair out with. And it wasn't paying my mortgage on time, and it was sending a check and saying it wouldn't get there till November 18th instead of just automatically sending it this new bill pay system. The bank people, these poor girls have been having, young women have been having inundated with phone calls from customers because it's a nightmare system. And they told the bank, this company told the bank they would set it up in 3 days, and they took 8 days. So we've been out unable to pay our bills for that long. And then it still isn't working very well, I would have to say. So I dealt with that. That took 2 or 3 hours this morning. Then this is just how I want to tell you how God works things out for us. And please start taking notice how God lays things out in our life. Not only the frustrations with the world. I mean, most people aren't hermits or religious solitaries. Many of you are, or in essence, religious solitaries, or in essence, religious, without being in a religious order. I consider Koine, one of our viewers, to be a religious order of one of his own. He's his own religious community. He is pouring himself out with charity, helping a religious group of nuns with all kinds of work and driving the older ones places and helping them with this and that and doing maintenance work. And then he also builds shrines. He makes the most beautiful pieces of furniture out of relics and different things. So very creative person, but he does that. And I know some of you are religious solitaries or retired you're suffering servants, many living alone or not, but suffering in some ways or other, but just very dedicated and devoted to God. So in essence, a religious, but not formally so, which is as well less complicated that way. And we can really have more, as God told me, it was way back. He was getting frustrated with me because somebody keeps pushing the diocese hermit way. And so I kept getting confused and thinking, well, I'd better do that. And she makes it so that you're not allowed to even identify as a Catholic hermit online unless you're a diocese hermit, which I'm calling my bishop. I'm asking if that's a problem to him, because I feel awkward not being able to identify as what I am, a Catholic. Obviously, I am. I talk about all these different Catholic things. But I am a Christian, and I do want to keep my title Christian Hermit, because that's far better than Catholic, because that's the Christian church. Jesus started that, and Catholic was a nickname given The people who didn't like Catholic Christians nicknamed them Catholic by the end of the first century and into the early second, until this Pope told the people, the Christian church, well, go ahead and accept being called that. Don't fuss about it. Go along with it. Don't make a scene. Don't get killed because of it, in other words. So anyway, just different things. But this has taken a lot of time. The world. I had to go then to this bank. They finally were able to stop payment on the check that my hometown bank's new bill pay system had generated, and was going to take, they said, till November 19th to pay, which would, I would have a late fee on my mortgage, big one. And I didn't want my credit ruined. I have very good credit. I'm very conscientious, living in my means, month by month though, but trying to, this house was an investment and it still will be. So, yeah, so it's, so I get to the local bank that happens to have my mortgage through their bank, and fortunately could use a debit card from the hometown bank to pay it. But they canceled that check so I would have the money to pay my mortgage then outright, so that I would get it paid on. It's already technically 6 days late. I always pay on the first. But the banker did tell me I have a grace period, I think of 10 days or something. So, but I didn't know that. So anyway, that was dealing with that. But I had wonderful encounters. But I put this hat on and my little jacket my daughter wants. That's one of the things I'll bequeath to her. I rarely wear it, but it's a nice one. I got a super deal on it, but I don't usually have nice things like this. But this jacket's a nice one, so she'll get it. And this hat, I wore hats back in the Midwest. Well, it was so cold, and it was sort of a thing. I tried to blend in with the cathedral people, but somehow I think I wore hat. Well, they wore hats, but maybe not like mine. I don't know. I still didn't blend in. I wanted just to blend in, but I still stuck out. Well, the having these ecstasies didn't help me any. The Lord wasn't going to help me out blending in, but He wanted me out of parishes. He wanted a traditional historic hermit. And He told me years ago, He showed me a diocese hermit with a bishop in an exaggerated situation, and told me, why would you want that when you can have me directly now? And when God told me, it was like, oh, it was not even any question to answer. Of course, anyone would want God over, a bishop and an exaggerate, a diocese hermit situation that was off kilter in the image God showed me. It was really extreme. Not it was going through layers and layers of temporal church. In other words, when I could have God directly guiding me, a one-on-one with God, be His hermit. That's what He wanted. He wants us to be His hermit, or His religious solitary, or His community of one, religious person of one. Directly, God will lead us and guide us. So here's this toe situation that I cannot begin to tell you how painful it is. It's throbbing right here with it on the bed. In fact, I stick it up in the air and it still throbs. But, it's going to get taken care of. The GP doctor really is impressing me now. He's Dr. Delight. He's Dr. Delivery. He's delivering the goods. I called and left a message. Oh, it's been 2 days ago, that my toe was reinfected, because he wanted to see it when I was there for my Medicare wellness over a week ago. Yeah, it was a week ago. A week ago today. And he just sort of stood off and, ooh, that looks painful. Oh, yes, it is painful. But at that point, it was getting a little better. It wasn't as red. It wasn't as reinfected. It's this been going on for 6 weeks with this toe. I think, I don't know. I lose track of time. It's so exciting around here. But so I called and left this message, and the nurse called back and said he wants to see you, and he'll be happy to try to take that nail off. And he sent in prescription for you of Keflex, which I'd been on before for 10 days, but he did more, and it's a little stronger dose than what the ER doctor had done. But the ER doctor had a good strong dose, but I don't, this, it's just toe is just, and it's amazing to me, God let me get through the working on the stonework to get that up before this really hit so badly I can barely stand on it. I can barely lay in bed with it. And I just, I keep reminding Lovey, do not step on it again. He stepped on it the other day again. But, it didn't make it any worse. It was already bad. But here is this, this doctor is amazingly, last spring he didn't call anything in. He was very, I don't know, just, I think he's bored. But this, you could see, this isn't the usual old people's thing, having a toe like this. So, and having arachnoiditis, he has no patience with that. I'm his first to hear of it or to know of anyone with it. So that's a little bit more intriguing for him. I don't blame him for being bored. Us old people, it's the usual. We're dying. It's just, we're falling apart bit by bit, and it's, bladder issues, intestinal issues, burping, gas, depression. Some elderly people get depressed. Blood pressure issues, just or go in, and it's just complaints that the doctor really can't do anything about. But he was on this, called in a prescription ahead of time for me, and then the nurse said, you really needs to come in. He's willing to take it off or do something to help you. So kind and proactive. He was being proactive. First time in a year and a half since I've gone to him. First time he's been proactive. And I'm impressed. So I know he's got it in him. And I'm just praising God for that. And he had also called in a referral. Well, the ER doctor had also, so I don't know, but within an hour of my supposed to go to this doctor delivering the good works, Dr. Delight, my appointment with him, I get this call from the specialist. And I said, well, I have this appointment in an hour with the GP. He was going to either trim. I said, well, I'd read online, if it's still attached down in there, shouldn't pull it out, but trim it down until you get to a specialist. And I said, I can't trim it. I can't even touch it. It's going to have to be numbed. And it's very oddly jammed down in the corner in a nail bed. Oddly. And I said, it's not a fungal nail. He called it by some Latin name. This GP knew what this was. It's sort of a horned, like a horned curled thing, a beak thing. I've named it Alphonsus because I saw an image of Alphonsus Rodriguez, who I want to share about in a different video. And his image, he had a horned nose. And I really like this saint a lot. I really do. And he's been helping me with this. He's got a sense of humor. And so anyway, Alphonsus the toenail was going to come off yesterday, but I get to this doctor's office. Well, the nurse at the intake person at the specialist's office said, well, I can get you in Friday, or if there's a cancellation tomorrow. But she said, you decide. So I got to the appointment because she said, if you can't wait that long. But I told her about my septic shock and how this has been infected now for a long time, that the antibiotics aren't really handling it that well. This new round of antibiotics is sort of up and down with it. It was better during the night. Now it's flared again. But I've had to be up going to the bank and things. So to take care of the mortgage mess situation. These temporal things coming up. Oh, and my internet service is a lot slower, but they did do something that helped it a little. So it's not taking, 18 hours to get a video on. And by the time it's at like 83%, it drops off totally. Now it's, this will go through. It'll just probably take an hour. But I've got time, I guess, until I don't, till I'm dead. But I got till the rest of my life. It's what I tell people if we're in line somewhere and, somebody's thinking they're going ahead. Go ahead, I said, I always say, I've got till till the end of my life. And I do. Other people have busy stuff to do. They're in the world, doing the world's work. God bless them for it. I'm grateful I don't have to be in the world all the time. This was enough, just this dunking in these last 2 or 3 days. But so I told this nurse at the GP's office, well, this specialist can see me. Just called an hour ago. She says, well, I'll ask this doctor what he wants to do. And bless his heart, I admire this. He's humble. He told her, tell her to go to the specialist, and also that it's better if she's on the antibiotic another day or two before they start doing anything with it. She needs to be on the antibiotic. The longer the better for that, as long as she can cope. So he deferred to the specialist, which was humble and wise, and said also no charge for being here. And he was, I think, 4 patients behind, or I would have been his 4th patient. Somebody just came out. So he was, running later with people. So all of us are old people that he has. He takes the very best doctor in that group, the one that everybody says, oh, get him. He won't take Medicare patients. So that probably affects this doctor too. He's, God bless him for taking the old ones. We don't have anything really too exciting usually, or that require much action. Just patient listening and saying, you'll be okay, you'll be okay. And sometimes we won't be. So, but anyway, I was impressed with that. So I'm waiting here. I had oodles of paperwork online to fill out for this new place. And so just got that done. And so I think I'm finished with the temporal world. But I put this crazy little hat on this morning when I had to get up and get to the bank, get my body and Alphonsus to the bank. And of course the pups want to go along, so they're in the truck. And I want to thank Camilla again for mentioning how we can lift up the world in little ways. One of our viewers. She leaves these positive comments that are so glowing. And, I'm telling you, Camilla, you don't need to. I know the reality of myself. But it's nice that that you like the brown. The brown is a warm color. Oh, the rust, she'll like this. She'll like the hat. But she says, well, she does this, and it's true. It to tell someone that they look good or whatever is an uplift. I know the reality, though. I know. I'm wrinkled, and I am. Well, this doctor the other day says, "Oh, you look so much better than the last time I saw you." And I thought I looked worse when I was there last week. I felt worse. I was awful looking. red eyes were red and sunken, and so I think it was him. Maybe it was someone else who said I looked better. Anyway, it's the world is all blending into me right now, as I've had to be out in it too much right the last couple of days, 3 days or so. But to lift up people in little ways is a good way. And the bank lead lady, the main person, bank manager, that's who it was. Kristen is her name. And she got a kick out of my hat. And I thought it was worth it putting it on because she, why not make somebody happy with a hat or something, little perk up. And then going out, oh, this older woman had a cute little teeny dog. It had three names, a first, a middle, and a last. I don't remember. Something, something Potts. Mr. Max Potts or something. And so I made over that little dog she had, 9 months old. It's her new doggie. And then when I leave the bank, of course, my big guy was sitting in the window looking out. He looks like a human being with his head sticking out. Lovey has such a long body, and when he sits, he's like a man sitting in the back seat of the truck, head sticking out, looking at people and getting excited. And Mercy, of course, is on the other side of the truck looking out and trying to get over to the window. She's such a tiny little thing, Mercy is. But there was an elderly couple in a car. And I think the woman had just come out. They were in the handicap spot. And the man looked maybe 90 in the passenger seat. And maybe a wife or sister, somebody had driven him. I think it was a younger wife, maybe in her 70s. He looked 90 at least. And very nice. And they had a little dog with them named Chuck sitting up between them. And I went over to them and said, "Oh, look over there. There's Lovey looking over here. Mercy's behind him, and I'll tell him to say hi to Chuck." And the woman was sort of startled at first, and I said, "Oh, I just came over I saw your cute dog and in your car and thought, I'd just say hi to what's his name?" And Chuck, "Oh, hi, Chuck." And I said, "Well, Lovey and Mercy are over there, but I said they're too rambunctious. I couldn't take them in the bank with me." Chuck had got to go in the bank, and so did this other little dog with the three names. But the woman who was driving the elderly man looked at me and she said, "This is so nice that you came over." And she says, "I like that hat." I should have given it to her. But anyway, why not? Why not lift up the world? And I told this woman that. I said, someone recently reminded me, in little ways, lift up people in the world. And the woman in the driver's seat said, "That's good." She says, "That's what we've got to do." I said, "Yes, even smiling. Smiling helps." So uh, Chuck and his mom and dad left, and I left to get home to start filling out all that forms to go take Alphonsus the toenail to the specialist tomorrow. Anyway, I'm going to get out in the gardens and try to get one or two things in the ground if I can do it with my right foot without causing too much agony with my left foot. So, just wanted to check in. I was amazed, though, at how God worked it all out for me to see the specialist. If you had a strange, it's not just a fungal nail, it's a strange kind of nail. And it looks horrible, I have to tell you. It looks really nasty. And my toes red, and even the bones, it's all throbbing. But it was x-rayed at the ER whenever that was several weeks ago, and what infection wasn't in the bone then. So being on the antibiotics, I know it's not in the bone, it's just hurting like it is. But that nail bed it's going to be hard to get that thing out. The whole thing is loose except for one corner, and it's jammed down at an odd angle because the whole nail is odd. It's a nightmare looking, it's a horror nail, really ugly. I've never seen anything like it. Hard to even describe it to you. But it's sort of like a horn, a beak thing. And ironically, this specialist, his name is King Bill. So I'm liking it. I'm liking this. This is God is just laying this out for me to get to the specialist. And everything is just flowing for it. And I've noticed how God does. I've been noticing lately a lot of this, that God is working out every moment of our lives. It would be fun if you guys would. Well, I know that Gray Rocking has mentioned things in her comments lately about how things were working out for her. Things that were, not great happening, but working out. Driving someplace, and her car she was given bad gasoline, purchased it, and it was rotten gas, had water or something in it, weakened down, and it caused her nearly to have a horrific collision on an interstate. And she heard God tell her, get to the next off ramp, get off there. She went to the first little gas station in some burg out in the greater Midwest area, out toward the west. And this young boy who worked there, he called his dad to come and help figure out. And then the dad flushed the engine and said, well, you've been sold bad gas somewhere, to the gas station along the interstate. And helped this woman like that, gray rocking, and she got to her destination. But by God's grace, and all the way back home, then it was a hard journey. That long drive, and then the anxiety of barely making it off the interstate to find out what was going wrong with her car. And so it's just amazing. She got back home. I felt like she was having a heart attack at one point, but it's because she was sandwiched with semis with her car coughing from bad gas. Illicit gas sold, cheap gas or something that would, she's just, God blessed her by not having her engine ruined. So it was her trusty car. We old people, we need our cars, and she's younger than me by far. So, but I understand how she felt out there. We all can. Not knowing if she was going to make it or be sandwiched and killed by these semis coming up behind, and her car might have just stopped right there and then. And going, on some of these interstates, they can go 80, 70, 80 miles an hour. So anyway, just something like that, how God told her and guided her and got her to safety, and the kindness of these strangers. This kid working at the gas station calling his dad, who happened to be home and knew what to do and how to flush out her engine from the bad gas, and no charge even. So it's just, and I've had an incident recently. Oh, it was the lawyer. He didn't charge me nearly what he should have and could have for my trust, and advised me and on what to do about my son, and so it, and prayed for me. He said he prayed for me also from the hurt of the situation with my family. So just God is working things out in our lives. Whenever it seems like we're not going to make it, or we're in despair, or we can't quite get on top of things in life, Just remember, God is working things out in our lives, specifically, moment by moment. We just have to notice and wait. God is directing us if we want Him to. Tell Him you do. I was thinking again today about the guardian angel, or some angel that was with me in the ER all that night they were working on to keep me alive, and the different doctors saying things that were bizarre, really. Like, well, I need your permission to operate on your forehead, rather than to say I need to put in a PICC line. And I was like, I'm not here. I came in with a gut attack. I don't need it. I thought, I don't need an operation on my forehead. What's going on here? And this, always there was this presence beside me who would then explain to me. It was the same voice, but it was in different places, in the ER, in the ICU, and I knew it was an angel helping me. God was talking, sent an angel to explain, and an angel I know it was an angel who didn't let that ER doctor send me home in an ambulance. I would have been dead. Well, I went out again in the hospital anyway. They realized, there wasn't sending this woman home. I was not, I had septic shock. I wasn't a drug overdose case that they were fixed and were going to send home. So anyway, it was just amazing how God works things out. And then he gives us reassurance. Like Psalm 42. Here's this shrine that Coin made with the little deer that came up to me in the hospital bed to reassure me. So just remember this, even this day, the gals at the bank in my little hometown bank doing all they could to try to fix this so that I could get my house payment made on time. And they've had it with that system at the bank, that the bank was sold this bill of goods. And I said, I'm going to keep praying for you at least through this week, because they're being inundated with phone calls with other people with problems with it. So hope they can get it all worked out. And because it was a major overhaul of their system that they went through, and I'm sure they paid a lot for it. It's actually more complex than any other bank system I've had to use, but I'm going to try to hang in with them, because they bent over backwards. They even waived a check cancellation fee and had to go through a lot of bother to stop that check that was going to take at least 5 days to get to my bank and be too late then. So I'd have a fee then. So it's just people just helping other people. And I know that little town, and I know the type of people. You can safely say, I'm praying for you. And she so appreciated it. Oh, we need it. We need it. Those poor workers, not their fault. I said, not your fault, not your fault. She kept apologizing. I said, no, the bank was sold something that wasn't what the seller made it out to be. And even telling them they were going to have it set up in 2 days, and they took 8 days to do it. So their system was down 8 days. No one could pay bills for 8 days. So rotten. The world. But God is there in the world. And I know that he put me out in the world these last 2 days, even with the T-Mobile. Something at first was wrong with it, and that got cleared. But it's, and it is slower, and they explained to me why it's going to be slower. But I'm saving $70 a month, and I can't toss out, that's $1,840 a year, or 1820. Yeah, 840 a year. Too much for me. I'll wait. So the videos will go up slower or have more problems. But, God at least had it explained to me, that the cell tower services are slower, but a lot less expensive than the fiber optic networks. So I'm glad that Sparklight raised their prices like 70% on me. That it was like, whoa, this is too much. And $40 compared to 110. Yeah, I'm staying with the $40 now. And the kids that were so nice and liked my witness story that Saturday night, I went in to change it. So it's God is guiding us all the time in the temporal. Even He's guiding me and surrounding me with good people. And also, though, some stinkers out there. And we know to pray for the stinkers then, and pray a lot for them. And Koine reminded me of what I think it was Father Benedict Groeschel had written somewhere on X or something, on one of these online programs. I'm not on it, but could be. But I have enough to do for now. Maybe when I get out from under this house, I'll have time to do a little X account and try to spread the good news that way also. But never give up on anyone. I haven't been as fervent in my prayers for my son, but I pray every night, and when I think of him during the day, I pray, and I can get triggered back on how he was behaving and how he was growing up. Such a lovely young man. Presented well, very responsible, very compassionate. And I don't even know if he still has his job. I read in the news that the new head of CBS was chopping people right and left. But, if that's a wake-up call he needs, good. God will handle it. But even my daily prayer that is, just please be with him and get him back to you, Lord. However you can do it. I've asked God, whatever it takes with my son, please get him back to Christ. And whatever church, Christian church, just get him back to loving God and to repent of the horrible things he said about God and the church. And of course, he puts all the blame on me. So he's very angry. And I've had visions, but they were 20 and 21 years ago. The devil had taken him over then, all but the top of his right hand by the second vision, which is a year after the first. I can't imagine now. I hope there's a hair of his head left that wasn't taken over by the evil one. And so it's oppression, being demonically oppressed, not possessed. There aren't that many possessions, but I'm telling you, out there in the world among us, there can be quite a few people who are demonically oppressed. The devil has them, and they aren't the same person that we knew before. And they don't realize it, and they wouldn't believe it. And they become ugly and defensive and egotistical, or whatever the traits, however the devil can grab them, and live lives that they would have never have dreamed of living before. Blowing money on drinks and expensive dinners out, and too much drink, I'll add, and partying, and rudeness, cutting off his mother. And I know why. The devil doesn't like me. And I can guarantee you the devil doesn't like you guys either. So when bad things start happening, it's still the devil trying to grab at us, trying to get his little claws into us, to get us discouraged, to get us down. And yes, maybe my prayers aren't as fervent, but keep praying. And I assured Koine, I keep praying. I won't ever stop praying. And I use different things as prayer. Like, even if I get triggered into what he got angry at me about, what triggered him, that triggers me then to remember how ugly he got to me. And I use that pain, the pain of remembering, as a prayer. Even if my prayer itself has lost its, after those visions 20 and 21 years ago, I was frantically praying with intensity. It was like all I could think of was praying for him. But I've got others to pray for that are equal, that other parents have. That they've asked, that I'm praying for a daughter, someone's daughter. And that person's praying for my son and his daughter. And I'm praying for both of them. And others. I'm adding any others out there of parents whose adult children have turned. And I pray for my eldest to come back to God, or to even love God or believe it. She doesn't even believe in God, or has nothing to do with churches. Says they're just corporations. Well, they are. How can we have people gather and worship in our day and time? Even 500 years ago or 400, when they had cathedrals, well, longer than that, 1500 years ago, 1600 years ago. People, you gather. If you're in a climate where there's snow or whatever, people can't gather out in the snow. They'll freeze, they'll get sick and die. So, they can bundle up, I guess, but no, we have buildings, and the buildings require upkeep and maintenance. And, so you hire staff, hire a custodian, hire a maintenance person. You get a furnace in this country, we're blessed. Over in Nigeria, I remember one priest, I don't know if he was in Nigeria or maybe in a different country that I knew years ago, and they were trying to earn money to get a roof on their building. They had the walls up. And it's ironic, I was just reading about another saint who, and it was one of the first, he's the only male saint in the United States, Saint John Newman, John Nepomucene Newman, in the 1800s. And he would get churches started, and it would be a big deal when they would get the walls. And they didn't care if they didn't have a roof yet. They would gather at least within the walls of their church and eventually make enough money to put a roof up. So it's part of humanity and our lives now, and of wanting a place of worship. Now, as a hermit, I have a place of worship. It's right here. I worship in here, and I'm developing my Sabbath routine in a more organized way and focused way. And because I want to read something from the Catechism about the Sabbath, and that, I guess I already read it too. Got me thinking about the seventh day, the Sabbath day, and then the eighth day. Where we take it from there. Well, try uplifting the world in little ways. So hats off to all of you. I don't need my hat anymore. It served its purpose this morning. People were getting a cheer out of it. Even the bank manager, I like your hat. A couple other people were chuckling, So we need laughter. We need smiles. We need uplift. The temporal world is hard. And as an elderly person, my daughter, the other daughter, mentioned something to me, the one that communicates more. And, you don't understand, I've got all this, I work all these different jobs and all these. I wrote back, I said, I remember how hard it is. And I said, don't worry, I remember, I know what you're going through. She didn't think it was other people, but she was making that comment. And I said, I know you're working long, long hours at various jobs, plus trying to deal with this with, upgrading her townhome some, adding some special touches to it that are, we're having one problem after another with it. And I'm more used to that, see. It comes with me. I'm a lightning rod for trouble. So, I accept it and I know where it's coming from. It's the evil one trying to discourage. And this morning I was getting discouraged. I don't like being stuck out in the world with all these hassles and even forms to fill out. Oh my goodness. But they need them. I understand. So with that, I try to do that. Like my dad would say, sunny side up. Do it with a smile. Do it with a smile. Sunny side up. Order your egg sunny side up. Start your day. He'd come in on a dreary Midwest morning at 6. Up and at 'em. Sunny side up. Oh my goodness. But he's right. Why not choose that? So do what you can. And thanks, Camilla, for reigniting this good works of lifting up the world in whatever little ways we can. So little Chuck the dog, I made over that little dog, and and the elderly man who didn't look well at all in the front seat, the husband, I'm sure, of this older woman, but he even got a little smile when I said, Mommy and Daddy are ready to take you home, Chuck. And, you know, I know how we are with our pets because I've become that way. I know we call ourselves mom and dad to them. So that brought a smile to his face, that, um, anyway, and the lady liked it. She says, I'm so glad you came over. At first, she was a little bit like, what's going on here? But I explained, I just want you to see that my dogs, are over there and waving to Chuck, waving to your dog. In essence, I said if they could come over here, but I said they'd probably Lovey would try to get into your car to play with Chuck. So can't bring him over, but he's too loving. He's excessive in his affection. So anyway, God bless you all, and just keep in mind God is working out every moment, working it out for our good. Start noticing it, and that God also wants to direct you, be with you directly, and He'll guide you directly, one-on-one. He's got you, and you've got Him. So God bless.